Chow Wei, and I can tell you that historically, when I get an email that goes on for the length that you sent it, I don't read them, okay? Or I put it aside. Ultimately, I read them, but I read it in sections, okay? And it's like, gee, it for me, maybe by age, if you had that much content, pick up the phone and say something to me, okay? Ask me something, okay? And probably it was not the kind of tone that I would expect from a colleague, okay? Colleague, Chow Wei, you are a colleague, okay? And it's not what I felt as I was reading that, okay? Joan, I'll bounce it to you, and then Chow Wei, we'll let you kind of. This is not meant to be, you know, let's just throw crap at anybody. This is how do we work better? Okay, Joan.
Sure. And thanks so much, Joey, for the meeting, and thanks, Steve, for kicking it off. I always have these discussions because, Joey, I've led some huge, huge projects, and think about, the accreditation that we did with, began in 2018, finished up 2022. We had so many players, all the pre-doc, everything, blah, blah. And we always talked about how we communicate and how we work together. And so when I saw your email, I thought, there are key things. One thing you wanted to remind us to get the information in. We had to. There were reminders, and I thought, good, reminder one, two. And I asked my team when I was working on accreditation if we could keep our emails to no more than two paragraphs and maybe even bullet point. Because and I really respect that email is a great way of communication. But if I would always ask my team and how I worked in both accreditation and COH,
Mm-hmm.
we'd always start first with what do you want us to do. So I thought, the email was great. Here's a reminder. You need to, get these two things. And then and then the third area was, I think some of the edits you're asking maybe a little more complicated. Let's talk about it more. And that would be it, maybe three bullet points and say, can we have a quick meeting to talk about it? That I think you don't understand how complicated it is. And I wanted to check with you, Chow,
Mm-hmm.
if that was correct, and how we could, moving forward, best go through and hear your reaction to this.
Yeah. So, first of all, I want to really address our heart to this project. We want to really pour out all the resources we have and the time we have to make sure that we meet the deadline with the best quality of product possible. So that's where the team is coming from. And like team member even cancel their year-long planning international trip for this project.
Wow.
Yeah. So not going to name who, but that's the country that the person always wanted to go with the family trip, and the person
Yikes.
prioritizing this project. And I would say, like, I watch them work. They do the dirty jobs, and they really deep their not just ankle but knee high, both of their feet into the water, trying to move the ship. So I appreciate everybody, not just like our team members, but I appreciate everybody putting so much effort, time, and energy into this. And they even like really they work above and beyond. So for example, the video recording at the Dean's Suite, they stay not only Thursday to get everything ready and set up, but also Friday all day long planning for the video recording. And we discuss about this like at the beginning of the project. It's like everything, every door is wide open. We welcome every idea to get the project as creative as possible. So our team as well, we brainstorm, we make suggestions, because we've been doing this as well for like how many 12 years. And we really borrow everybody's idea and experiences, and then we're trying to get every project as good as possible, if not great. And as we are getting along to this, I would say bottom ninth inning of this project, we are really in a crunch time right now. So if there is any statement in email or in the meetings, even after every meeting, we have a debrief meeting right afterwards for sometimes go on for hours. And we reflect on ourselves. Did we set up the tone too aggressively? Did we make this complicated? Are we making anybody confused? So constantly we are reflecting on how we can always, back to the thesis statement, we want to ensure we finish on time with the best quality product possible. So sometimes if we see anything that is conflicting with the thesis statement, we get very worried. Because every project is like our baby. So when we see something that is conflicting with the thesis statement, we get very, very worried. And we want to remind every single stakeholder, including ourselves, every single stakeholder, we might miss the deadline. So take another thing that we discussed last week, for example. If we did not have the focus group feedback, we won't be able to finish the final product on time. And we really, really, really need to have those information in order to finalize the video. Secondly, if we have new content that needs to be recorded, we won't be able to get it done on time because there are multiple steps before we can get it done. If we have changing ideas or structural change on an editing, we might be able to get it done on time. And that is not because we are short-handed or we are lack of staffing manpower resources. That's just, even we have another team, but if even we triple our team and then we are still having changing ideas or structural changes to the video, we might not be able to get it done on time. And that again conflicts with the thesis statement. So
okay, why don't you kind of wrap that right now so that we can have a discussion, because I think I understand the point you are making. And then I will ask you about if you tripled your staff, you still wouldn't be able to. But go ahead, wrap it up, and then we can discuss.
Thank you. Yeah. So we met. The dean actually called a meeting on Friday with us, and we talked about how to get this done. And he said we just need to. I'm paraphrasing because I'm not quoting him word by word, but he encourages us to be more assertive on certain decision to get this project completed as soon as possible. So I'm just trying to also understand how we can smooth the communication, and also if email is not the way to work, then how can we do it? I still encourage us to have a centralized location to do our information and message exchange. So that's why I always use the same email thread, so nobody is getting left behind or no messages being lost anywhere. We proposed the Excel spreadsheet because we basically visualize everything in one place from the beginning of the project to the end. And then we switched to our biweekly meeting, and then email, the same email thread that we've been exchanging our ideas. So if none of these works, how can we make this communication better? I just want to go to the bottom line to make everybody happy.
Right,
Mhm.
okay, so let me kind of react.
Mhm.
Okay, which I want to take it away from the communication better
Mm-hmm.
and bring it to some of the theses
Yes.
presented here. And the line was, every product is like our baby. Your line, okay? Joan, every product like your baby?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I put
Stephen?
my heart and soul into it. Accreditation, I mean, we get the job done.
So, what, every video, every line right now is like my baby. Okay? And, okay, when we might see that in front of us,
Mm-hmm.
to say, oh, that's not what I thought it would be, okay? I did my best thinking, and this is not the message that I wanted to convey. And now, okay, because we might miss the deadline if you are changing ideas in editing, leads me to say, wow. So if I said something that I would like it this way, and then when we're in the editing room, I see that, God, that's not how I wanted my baby. That, oh, well, then if you really insist, we're not going to make the deadline, even if we triple our staff. Okay. Now that seems, that's challenging for me to understand. You mean if I said, Xiaowei, I can support a temp person coming in, a summer person coming in, so that these production changes could happen, and you think, well, no, that's not how it works. So, given that you now know that once we say that's a take, and Joan and I are likely to say, we really need to make some changes here, because we're not just creating a videotape, we are developing a training tool that is so unique and going to go nationwide, and it has to work. How do we then make it happen so that our needs are met, and you can say, well, if you keep moving the goalpost, then you're gonna have to miss a deadline, when I don't know until I see a first draft what if it has succeeded in our intention. Now I'll stop talking and put it back to either one of you to kind of say, This is how we can then make it happen.
I can go.
Joan, Pat or Charlie, you want to respond? And
Go
remember,
ahead.
we're talking as colleagues.
Always. That's always my intention. So if there's any miscommunication or misunderstanding, um, type of feeling or message being sent in a different way that heard differently, then that's very unfortunate, and I would like to personally apologize for that. So that reminds me of me texting my wife, and then she will be like, "What do you mean?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I didn't mean that because it's just message exchange, lack of feeling. I understand that part." And they could be misunderstood sometime, and I do not want to anybody to feel like it's being belittled or being forced to or being anything. And because like our team doesn't like that either when they feel like people are not talking to each other like a colleague. So definitely that's a very good feedback, and I'm taking that in, I'm reflecting on that for sure. And to your point, Dr. Abel, I think it's impossible that we didn't listen to subject matter expert when working on any project. We are specialized in content creation, and we know we've been doing market research on how to address and disseminate information in certain formats and style that will fit into general public's eyes. So that's what we have been specializing. We are not content expert. We are not subject matter expert, meaning whenever there is a professional information that we need, we really need your help. We won't be able to help in any way. So in this project, that will be, for example, the title sequence. That is something that we cannot come up with because we are just not specialized in this area. That's why they will be constantly asking for the same information over and over again. What we are specialized in is, for example, the design of the frame, the design of the script, the flow of the video. We are 120% confident that we would provide the help that you need above and beyond. That's what I can guarantee you with my career. So I can guarantee you that you don't even have to worry about that. You will get the best product possible. I'm not saying this just out of like overconfidence. I'm saying this
We're
out
not
of
worried
the
about that.
yeah.
No, I would say
Mm-hmm.
nobody's going to worry that this final product won't look beautiful
Right, right.
and work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because in the end, we know that it's going to look beautiful. I don't think any of you would have a job if you were turning out product that didn't look and be impressive and promote the university well. Okay.
Yeah.
But
So
can we address
mm-hmm.
that now that you know how we work and we're going to be asking for changes, but have since learned if it's a small change and you can live with it, can you guys just live with it? Because what you're asking us to do is going to take a full day, even though it seems like you're editing about 90 seconds from something. I don't know. Okay. Okay. But if you say no edits, then I'm saying not working. Okay. So how do you respond to that?
So that's actually segues me to my second point. So we have been trying to be as flexible as possible in terms of taking in any project request along this project. And if you felt otherwise, most likely the project request, like I mentioned at the very first of the beginning. Sorry, I might sound like a broken record. If anything conflicts with the thesis statement, that might really not be able to ensure us to meet the deadline with the best quality of product, then we would really suggest any stakeholder to reconsider that project request. And what you are conveying, the information that I'm hearing, is transparency. You would like to have more information on why we cannot make the commendation to certain project requests. And that part we certainly can do. So basically, we can let you know there are different level or different categories of project action items on each request. If this request is taken in, it might take me X amount of time. Now we are actually putting one extra person on this project. It used to be just one and a half, two. Now it's 2.5, almost 3, and we're a team of 5. So I've been trying us.
Why doesn't we know that we are heavy in terms of our materials and development. Why having an additional video editor to come in this summer and work on one or two of these?
That's a great
projects?
question. That's a great
Why
question.
does that not work?
That's a great question. So, not sure if you're into cars. But cars, yeah, cars. I just want to make an analogy.
So use another
analogy. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying my best to use dental material as an analogy. I'm using one material implant for my teeth, and then you're going to use another one, and the same doctor who's been using the same material for the past decade really works very well. So the point I'm trying to make is number one, working style. Can that person really fit into the culture that we have? Number one. Number two, can that person really live up to the quality and style and taste of work? Number two. Number three, if we brought in an independent contractor for short term, then I need to also make sure the format that person working on is the same and compatible with our format. Would that be helpful? Yes. But would that be extra work? Of course, yes as well. So it's actually not alleviating on the project management standpoint. It's not alleviating the workload. In a way, it might increase the project management workload. So if we were going to hire a person, I would recommend hiring a project manager to help us communicate, aggregate information, triage project requests, and also make sure that everything is on the timeline to be delivered on time. That's what I would recommend. I would not recommend hiring a videographer or an editor to come in. That person might have to spend 1 to 2 weeks to just, one, learn from us what this project scope is, and then number two, learn from our editing style, and number three, like, we have to learn from that person as well. By the time that we all sync on, we are already ready to deliver our final product. So I would say, if possible, if really happen, a project manager, an admin type of personnel will be the best help. Our team discussed this also already. Like, if any additional help is being brought in as a short-term independent contractor, what type of role, position will really have immediate impact?
Okay, I hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Joan, do you want to say something, or can I just, uh, let me just put a question out there, but I want
Yes.
to, and put it on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
We just taped Lindsay. Okay, so now we have the content expert. We have all of the footage that you guys shot in the Deans. Okay, it seems to me that if I turn this over to somebody and said, go look at the UCLA, I'm going to sit and talk to you, but we want this to kind of replicate the refusal to bathe, okay? Just sort of put it together for us. Could you do that? Um, and we're going to give you all the video footage that we currently have. You don't have to do the introduction. You just have to pick it up from this point where the caregiver says, I'm having problems with my mother doing this. And then we go to the raw footage that we had in the Dean. We bring in Lindsay's comments, and then we close it up, okay? That seems to me to be a complete package that you could turn over to somebody and say, can you do that? We want you to do that. And work with Joan and Abel and you. Okay, let's put that in the back burner. But Joan, I wanted to hear you talk.
Well, thanks. And Joey, I really understand it because, when I keep going back to my analogy in accreditation, we had some components that were doing great. We had other components that needed more help. I found, well, my experience, consultants were incredibly helpful. That one of the postdoctoral programs was having some problems. We connected them with somebody because we parceled it and defined the scope. And it's interesting because when you were talking, I was thinking that, yeah, it's sometimes it's hard to bring in other people, but because it's all about defining the scope. And it's interesting because Dr. Abel talked about the, Lindsey Brown and that thing. I was thinking of something like our opening sequence. We put a pin in it because we said we're going to wait. We got some feedback from the dean regarding opening and closing sequences for each of the videos that he'd like. And I thought, well, maybe that's something that we could outsource. Like if we could, I get what you're talking about, if we could define some discrete projects. I had some success with that in accreditation, but I know it's hard. I know it's hard to give stuff up or things, but we were very happy with the outsourcing that we did.
Understood.
Joey, tell us why Joan's thinking is inconsistent or incompatible with your office, and why my question is also, not going to save time. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to use this time when we're all together discussing to see, number one, how we will be able to better communicate with each other, like a colleague, and how we will be able to really be transparent on how each project request would impact the editing process. Yeah, and then so we will be really understand from everyone's standpoint of why, because if the project request is this content is getting people confused as a learner, viewer, it doesn't make any sense. And that to me is level one. Meaning, regardless, I drop all the things I have in my hand, get it fixed, regardless. Right? If I have to work 20 hours a day, I get it done.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
and then
it was confusing. And it starts with, it's confusing to Joan or me when we see it. Okay?
Yeah, so that will be a great feedback.
We're feeling a little bit intimidated, like, wow, almost like saying we're feeling intimidated or reluctant. I'm not feeling intimidated by anything, okay? I'm reluctant to say that really doesn't work all that well, okay? Because in the back of my mind, it's every change you make is going to jeopardize this deadline that you have.
No, no, no.
That's
So that is
not
now.
making us feel comfortable because that deadline is more as important as is the message coming across.
Of course.
Why? Because
Hmm.
we're being funded to do
Of
this.
course.
Okay.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. So that's why the thesis statement is not only make everything on time, but with the best quality possible. So that's the number one thing that I'm following with for this project, and we just want to really get to the bottom line and see how we really can communicate with transparency, with of course respect, and we want to also find the best way that everybody can really agree upon. So,
Well,
mhm.
do you think that we're communicating well when we meet every 2 weeks and really being told, okay, send it an email, send it to everybody, we'll put it on the agenda in 2 weeks, and it almost, the unspoken part is no phone calls or individual emails to anybody because that's breaking our flow.
Well,
Okay?
so
That
we,
to me is not that is not collegial. That is not communicating within a university setting. It may work in corporate America if that's how they like it, but that's what Joan was saying is, and me and our careers, we want to be able to communicate by talking. And even if it means, well, we don't need to have a weekly meeting with anybody, but let's have the whole team every 2 weeks and I'll sit down I'll sit down with the two of you, or I'll have Catherine that can sit down with the two of you if you feel like there's something that you want to say. Okay. How do I say, for instance, I would like something to be working with on the next video up so that I can watch something, make the recommendations, and help to move it along, okay? Rather than right now, I'm spending all of my time on the resource stuff, okay? Um, it's like, okay, I don't feel like I'm doing what I should be doing to help you guys move it along. And I'm sure Joan feels the same way. Let us see something so that we can look at a future video like nutrition, like the filming that happened in the Dean Suite. Now, you may say, wish we could, but to do that, to give you the rough footage, may take an entire week, okay? And I would say, oh, okay, well, maybe we gotta do something on your side so that you can be feeding us things so we have something to work on rather than sitting back as spectators waiting for the 2 week meeting. Okay, pause, be collegial, and turn it back. Response?
Dr. Gletcher, would you like to add on to that too?
No, I unmuted. I'm having construction done, and they were really loud. I don't know if you could hear.
I
But
think Zoom is doing a great job filtering out every background noise. Yeah.
but they stopped the construction. They stopped using their using
The drilling.
the drilling. Yeah, you heard it. You heard it there. So
No, I didn't hear
that's
anything.
why that's
I
why
didn't hear
I
anything.
that's why
No,
I
no,
muted.
you're okay, Joe.
I do feel like I I feel like I should be jumping in more and helping. Like I would love, okay, this is just I'm just brainstorming. I'd love to come in and sit with Erin and Catherine and Jared and wherever they're working and say, oh, I like this, not this. How can we do this? Can we get going? I get, but what I'm hearing from you is you guys are in the flow, you have a process, you're working, this is how you work. But I almost feel like I wish I could help you guys. And I wish I could help saying, like more immediate, when rather than do it and wait the 2 weeks. Like I'll just give you an example.
Right.
The bullet points were beautiful, but when I looked at it again, I thought, rather than a light bulb, could we put a toothbrush? And I would have loved to sat with Erin, or Catherine or Jared, whoever was doing that, and say, what do you think? This, that. I mean, I don't want to nag them, but I guess, again, I keep going back to accreditation. There were some components that people just needed a lot more assistance. So literally, I went and sat with Dr. Sally and I said, tell me, what do we need to say in here? How can we write this? How can we do this the best? So I guess I've always had a really hands-on relationship. I mean, again, we've not worked as closely with this, but there was another graduate program where we brought in a consultant, myself and the program director, and the three of us sat in front of a computer and said, what about this? You have this. That we very quickly, you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
I know that
Well, Joan, I really like what you're saying, in the sense of what I'm hearing is if we could be somewhat more hands-on as things were happening, okay, then maybe we could save the time of, well, we already shot her holding the toothbrush and bending it, and we went into the studio and did that, and it took us a day, when Joan and I probably would have said, really not so important from a content expert, because this is a real hard thing to even purchase, okay? But to have used the face cloth and put some elastic bands around it if you want to shoot anything, that would have worked.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So all we're saying is, we were kind of used to an ongoing working, and what we're seeing is, no, you got to let us and the video people and the editing do their thing.
So.
And we'll show you in 2 weeks. And because we are working independently, you can feel free if something is wrong to say, that's really not what we were looking for. But then I feel like I just set you back 2 weeks.
So, yeah, I will use example very quick. That was the disclaimer language that we were discussing about, and I vividly remember we got the first version and we are ready to insert it into the video. So I want to be very transparent, but I don't want to bore you. And the process would be okay, we have this finalized version and we propped it into our graphic designers project pipeline, production pipeline. Graphic designer will design the element and make it as beautiful as possible. Not going to go into the detail what format it is, and then going into videographer and the editor, we review everything frame by frame to see what this could be done, and then a few hours later we got a version number 2, version number 3. So we didn't finalize it until Monday. So that's a very quick example of how many iteration that is trickling in to get everybody to rework on the same project production pipeline. So that's why we were hoping, okay, so if we have a very light bulb moment happening here, will we really waver a little bit until everything is looking good, smelling good, and working well, and then we take that finalized, polished idea into this production
I
line.
guess that's what should have happened in
Yes.
retrospect. And
Um,
why did this happen at all? The dean
The dean.
held things up, and then he changed
He
it.
changed
And
it.
Right.
you know what? If that's what the dean wants, that's what the dean gets.
of
Okay?
course, of
It
course.
wasn't Joan and me saying, could we change that verbiage because that adjective doesn't quite feel precise enough?
Yes.
No, it was the dean wanted this changed, and that's it. Okay, so the example you picked fell out of everybody's hands. Okay, and every time he reviews it, okay, he's also making some changes.
So
So
yeah.
add that
Mhm.
into your timeline because those changes probably are inflexible.
Yeah, definitely. We understand that. We understand that. And of course, if the project grant funder comes to us and say, "Hey, with the sledgehammer, I want this. I do not want that," we will do it.
Yeah.
We will do it. So
Well, that won't happen.
yeah. Okay.
That won't
Okay.
happen from this event, Joe.
And just
Joe?
Joey, one of the things that I talked to my team about in accreditation is that because this example happened all the time, and we were and I told so what I told everyone was to reset their expectations. That the reality is we need to expect these changes. And we had a drop dead point where because we had to publish, we had to go, there's still we printed, although it had to be finalized to upload into the CODA website. But we knew I guess the point is I've been working with the dean this long and I've been working at Penn this long that there are always changes. And when I heard you talking, I thought, oh my, it would be so ideal and perfect in a world. I get what you're talking about, and I love the idea that you have things, organized, they go through this sequence, they do that, but that's not the reality of at least how I've worked at Penn, how I've worked on accreditation. As much as we tried to do, as much as we had to get so many things done. We knew there were certain things that had to be posted on the website, but then there were other things that I kept saying we can do later. But anyway, the point is, I appreciate the order, the activities, the communication, but my reality has been, especially with the dean, that the example you gave is how how we work, how he works. And so rather than get upset about it, I learned it early on and I told all my staff. And I said, look, we're going to have a consultant come in, we're going to have this. Just another example, I know you work with materials with students and lecturing, students were like, oh, we have to have it a week up on. Well, sure, we'll put it a week up. And then a lot of people say, well, I want to change it. You just say to students, I took it down. I put up the revised version. This is the revised version I'm working with. Just about, I know, I don't want to generalize and say everybody, but the community staff, we do this because I want to encourage creativity. So it's a balance, isn't it?
It is. Always it is. Always, always. So what we've been trying to do is also being as accommodating as possible. We welcome ideas, we welcome changes, because we're not saying like we would not do this, we would not do that. We still accommodate. That's why I might sound like a broken record again. Back to the first second when I started making my opening remark at this meeting. We sacrifice our personal life for this project because we want to be accommodating as possible. So that is I want to just show everyone that we care so much about this project and we would want to really pour in everything we have to support. So we understand things change. That's why, again, before we went into the Dean Suite, we really wanted everyone to come in prepared so that we will be able to utilize the time really efficiently. And we couldn't get on the 100% agreement on everything. So we embraced for changes.
You did.
That's why the team spent more than 10 hours in the dean's apartment thinking of every scenario possible to accommodate. That's why you see all the tape marks on the floor. So scenario 1, we will shift all the equipment this position. Scenario 2, we will shift on the other position. Because of that, we were able to get everything recorded in time, on time, only because of that. But behind the scene, they were doing all the works for this project. So we always want to be as flexible as possible. So in their pocket, they have 2-3 different solutions just in case an unexpected change is coming at us, so that we can respond in a very quickly. And and sometimes I understand it's because of a group of faculty also providing feedback to both of you, and I understand sometimes they have their responsibilities that they have to fulfill before they can get onto this project. So I would say, so this is like a mutually important comment that please also let us know when things are out of your control, and we will put that part of the project aside until the deal breaker is being determined or the final decision is being made, and then we'll work on that, no problem at all. And right now, sometimes we just don't know. Oh, we were working on something that needs to be reviewed by the focus group. So we waited on it until the focus group provided us the feedback. Because back then we thought everything will be focus group interview, but not now. We understand that. And we just need to know who is the final decision caller on which part, and we will really respond accordingly. We're not saying this is the perfect world part.
Sure. I have seen times when you've come back to me a month later and saying, well, we're still waiting for Dr. Glutch's response and okay on this. And it's like,
Yeah,
wow,
I feel
now
like
really, guys, Dr. Glutch is going to respond probably within 48 hours. That will be late. That will be a late response, okay? And because we didn't know you were waiting on something, because let's call this one falling through the cracks, it would have been very appropriate to communicate and say, hey, can we get an answer instead of waiting for a month?
If we could know
Don't
what
wait for a month anymore.
Yeah.
Don't let us hold you up is what we're
definitely
saying.
I would. So this for this case, I would personally want to know what happened, when it happened, and I will respond right now, like with my team. Like, hey, what happened? Why did this fall through the crack for a month? If Dr. Glutch gave us the instruction, why did we not act on it?
Yeah.
That will be on us.
Maybe we didn't communicate well either. But I'm not saying it's your fault. Okay?
No. I mean, like,
don't let us hold up anything for you. Okay? Any request, you're going to get a turnaround within 48 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Including weekends for me. Okay? So
definitely. That will be perfect. That will be perfect. Yeah.
Because the and I kept going back to the Excel sheet, and I want to look at it again, because I do like the idea that we have progress on each of the videos. And I think that's where, potentially saying, you know, check the Excel, check the Excel
Check
sheet,
the
look at the
Excel,
Excel.
and if you see a
Yeah,
block in yellow, okay,
well, God has to do
that's
something.
for
I
Able
remember,
and Glutch,
Mm,
okay?
yeah,
mm.
That's your red light, okay? It's just like,
yeah.
oh, well, we're waiting for you here,
Yeah, and it's like,
okay?
so sorry, I didn't know that you were doing that.
So
Um,
yeah, we can definitely go back to the Excel spreadsheet and we can color code all the project requests from which person, and then how do we better communicate that? Because we can abandon the bi-weekly meeting idea. If that is not working for you, we can push it out of the door. We can
No,
make
it
it
is
back to.
working.
Oh,
it
okay.
How
is,
else would we ultimately see the video that we have to watch?
yeah,
Where
yeah,
we can say, this is good, this is great, can you tweak that a little bit,
Hmm.
okay?
yeah,
So we
yeah.
need the 2 weeks,
Yeah,
okay?
because Kelly, that was one thing I wanted to tell you. I like that we get the video ahead of time. I watch it ahead of time. I go through, and it's helpful with the transcript because then I can say, okay, this is redundant here. What about this? And then I can send that. And that what I liked is that we all watched it together. And it was like, well, how about this? Because I could hear Catherine was like, well, you might want to do it this way. And I was like, great, that was, or it might be better to cut here. Erin would say, or Dara would, that was, I like that. I like that we can, and I'm ready to look at more. Like
Hmm.
I'm ready, we had a great session with Lindsay where actually, and again, I appreciate the flexibility. Catherine and Erin and Lindsay and me and Dr. Abel was in. We quick changed the script. We
Hmm.
had the script, but we were like, it doesn't sound right. So we quick on the fly changed the script, everybody there, and reshot Lindsay. So that was I guess I'd like to be involved, and I think these every 2 week meetings are great to review the videos, and if every 2 week meeting we can work on a video and we would get it ahead of time. We can say, this is what I think that, and then at the meeting all together, because that's what I was saying. I'd love to sit all together with you guys and say, what about this? I like that way of working.
Hmm.
I can say that when we just shot Miriam, okay? Now, I was intimately involved in that intro and outro, okay? And it was only when I watched her tape it that I said, that part's wrong. Or when I watched Lindsay do it, okay? We looked at the script 100 times, okay? It was like, there's no ending to this.
Yeah. So we wrote an ending. It was great.
So we wrote an ending right there, okay? So it's that goes back to the place of you gave us the script, we did it, we're showing it to you, and this is what you gave us, okay? And it was, yeah, but it was not what it doesn't fully capture the intention, okay? So those changes have to take place.
Hmm.
And I really thought that we had hammered it down.
But
It
with
was,
millions, we spent so much time.
but it wasn't.
And you're right, it
Okay.
wasn't. So you guys
So,
changed it.
so let's keep the every 2 weeks. And if a video isn't quite ready, okay, there must be something that you guys want to show us, even if it's like, here are some blocks that we're going to drop in. Does this work? Okay. Whatever. Um, and I need to have a pretty damn complete something to show the folks at Delta. Okay, I need one complete video. Okay, now I kind of have a couple of complete videos, but I don't have an intro. Okay, now if
Oh.
you guys communicate back to us and say, you know what, the intro that we're working on is still a month away because there's so many different video raw footage that we have to look at. Okay, then I will take what we have and set up a meeting with Delta with what we have.
Hmm.
Okay, that's why we would need to communicate.
Of course. And with that being said, Dr. Abel, would you be able to come in to record earlier?
No, I will be there in June. This is the last video that we are doing. You mean my video?
Mm-hmm. So you won't be able to move your schedule up?
No.
Okay. So you'll be here late June or early June?
I will be there June 22nd.
June 22nd. And that won't be changed.
That won't be changed.
Okay.
And you will have the footage. And mine, it could, at this point, I don't know what it's going to look like. If it's going to have anything other than me talking for 2 or 3 minutes. It might just be that.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Because we were just wondering and hoping that you might be able to move your schedule off for a little bit, but if that is not possible, then we will put on that on the project management sheet and react accordingly. And for everything else, of course, we are keeping the bi-weekly meeting, and we will share everything that is ready to be reviewed. And if we can all review it ahead coming into the meeting, we also work on our agenda items. That's fabulous to me. And if we have anything that we need from either of you, we will send you the spreadsheet to visualize what is needed. And that would be great if you can turn it around in 48 hours. We greatly appreciate that. And
Okay.
yeah,
And what I will be working on is the script of my video, so that if I'm talking, and there's a very brief introduction about what the problems are that we see, and then talking about the video series, okay? So as I'm talking, you may just want to be showing pieces of the video series and some of the highlights,
Yeah.
okay? So I think if you had the full script, okay, you would know how to build it,
right.
okay? The only thing that's different is you're not going to see my head. And I hope that the video that is the introduction is really as much about showing the website as it is about my telling you the problems that you already know you have, caregivers. Okay.
Yeah. And to Choe, by the way, we've met with Beth Adams and Patrick
Yes.
regarding the website because, and I know Patrick said he was going to contact you and your team, look at best ways. We built out kind of an infrastructure for the, what's the best word I want to use for how what we want on the website, how we want
The framework.
The framework, good. And when we met with the dean, he said he wants a lot of the branding.
Yes,
related
he
to
did mention that.
The persons with disabilities, and
Yes.
and so I have some notes, and he said after we met, he said he would share that with you too. He said he really
Yes.
hit it hard with Penn, hit it hard with the Center for Disabilities. So I guess just another analogy, we didn't write, there's in accreditation, there's kind of an introduction and a conclusion and like a discussion, and we didn't write that till we pretty much were done with all our chapters, because then we could go through and say these were the challenges for this area, this was this. And I was kind of thinking, it sounds as if though that's not what you were thinking. I was kind of thinking that we wouldn't kind of finish up with this introduction and conclusion until we had finished with everything else, so that we could then really reflect
Mm-hmm.
in the introduction. You're going to see XYZ because we know it's in the can there, and then conclusion. Yes, this is what we did, and we have a website and we have the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry I didn't communicate that, because I knew that Dr. Abel's piece was going to be one of the last ones we were going to shoot, but we were going to do that kind of after we had a lot of stuff. And but I guess, you know, and I'm cognizant of the time, and Dr. Abel and I can look more at these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, so I will definitely put a timeline for us as well from the project management standpoint. If we have the deadline to meet and finalizing the idea, put it into the production pipeline with the reviewable product, and then finalize the product with another final wave of ideas, changes, or feedback that anybody would have. So I will do that so everyone from this working group can visualize how much time we still have, right? So we can be as creative as possible, and we always want the best product, but I always use best product possible because we have only limited of time, and I want to respect all of our time, but I think we have a very good communication. I just want to reassure you that we've been supporting not only this type of project, but we successfully created multiple online master programs for the school. And we have the most viewed faculty training program in the world. We help another department create public facing educational purpose on YouTube, and that is ranked number 13 in that category in the world. So that is the assurance to you. We, number one, care about this project, and our team really wants to convey the information to you to say, don't worry, trust us. You are in good hands. And we are basically, yeah.
We don't question that. We don't.
Oh, I love Catherine and
Okay. Now,
Jared. They're getting so much great work done.
did you have in mind anybody that could serve as this project manager over the summer?
We do not have anybody in mind, but I can look around and see who is available to help.
Is that like you need somebody experienced, or is it an independent? Do you bring in a grad student in?
Definitely not student. Definitely not student. Not our students.
Joan,
a professional project manager.
Of bringing in somebody like that and making it happen.
So Penn has a temp agency. That's one option, is to look, at the temp agency. They also, I can ask Jalissa, because sometimes they'll know somebody who's between jobs or between. HR may know of individuals, but what we'll need to do, Steve, we could develop something and then of course share it with Choe and the team, the scope, like how many hours, what do we want this person to do, kind of a job description, kind of what we want their training, their level to be.
And how long would that take to, once that job description was developed, to say, okay, we post it, we identified somebody in 48 hours, okay, who wants this job for the summer, okay, and we bring them on, okay. Is that is it realistic? Is it going to help you guys, or is it somebody that you would actually, Catherine or Aaron or Jared or you knew like, okay, this is a good person. They can do it for the summer.
Hmm.
Is that the route to take?
We definitely think that's the best help that we can get out of this situation.
But getting that help to you, you're
Correct.
going to have to come back to us and say, look at, actually, we took it one step further. We know somebody.
Oh, so I can X around right after this meeting. I can X around to see anybody I know from my pen connection, personal connection, professional connection, to see if I can find somebody. Because the help, the project manager slash admin help that we are getting, this person will communicate with both of you almost on hourly basis. Like they'll pick up your phone, they'll answer to your, if you just send like a quick message, and then they will try to meet with you at your service, trying to get the idea as consolidated as possible into a way that the whole team, our team, your team, can all come around, and also all the stakeholder, and get everything ready. So
Okay.
that's the help that we can see the
If,
imminent
if,
feedback.
if,
Yeah.
if it's feasible and practical, um, and affordable, we'll do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Joan, am I right there?
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you were talking, I was trying to, going into the office after this, and Jalissa has a network of a variety of people. She is on, they have a Teams chat for all of the admins and managers. Like she works very closely with the folks in restorative, Michelle and Danielle and the academic affairs people. And so they all may know someone, particularly somebody maybe who is in grad school and has the summer off.
Mm, 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 mm.
I'm not talking about
So,
a student, but and we. So we'll
but
we'll put our heads we'll all put our heads together, and maybe that can be an agenda item for a
is,
meeting on Wednesday tomorrow.
isn't there a unique skill set aside from, I've been a project manager and I know how to operate the hotel that is just being built,
Uh-huh.
to, no, I know quite a bit about filming and editing so that when I'm talking to these guys on your team, it's not a foreign language to me.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that what,
of
is
course.
it, or a little bit of both?
The more the merrier. I would say the more relatable the prospective person's background experiences are related to this project, the better, because that will shorten that onboarding time.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if we can get somebody who is really specialized in project management, that is, I would say that will meet the minimum requirement.
okay. And I don't think we need somebody full-time, but we do need somebody on board daily.
Correct.
Let's
So
say it that
maybe
way.
I would say like 20 hours a week, 4 hours a
Yeah,
day. That would be
Yeah.
lovely. Hmm.
That's just what I'm thinking about. That's
okay.
good.
All right.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Shall we, first of all, thank you very much. And I really appreciate, we wanted to make sure that we had this time to discuss this. And I know we are on the same goals.
Hmm.
We're on the same team. We have all the same, we just have to look at how best we can communicate and work together.
Definitely.
And how involved, as you can see, how much you can involve Dr. Abel and myself.
Definitely.
I would love, please let the team know. I can sit next to Aaron, and
Hmm.
or Aaron
Catherine.
and Catherine, Vidya, and Jared as they change. So I'm happy to do some of that. I'm happy, however we can help.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your flexibility, your time, your feedback, input, and yeah. So I just want to like conclude my message. It's really same thesis statement throughout from day one to right now to the finish line. We just want to make sure we pour up enough resources as much as possible to meet the deadline and also deliver you the best quality possible product. So that's always what we've been trying to and then dying for.
Thanks so much. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thank you both very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. Thank
All right,
you.
we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
talk soon. Bye.
Joan, would you